The voice from behind the door says.
All right, I'd like to reconvene the meeting of the St. Mary's County Board of Education for Wednesday, April 6, 2022, and we will begin with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's see. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move approval of the agenda as presented.
Oh, second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and we will begin with board reports. Ms. Judy.
All right. Good morning. I'd like to begin my board report with a story today.
Okay.
So, I am 11 years old, sitting in Miss Foss' math class at Esperanza Middle School. For some reason, I start daydreaming about college, of all things, and that's when I started wanting to go to Yale. I am 12 now, going to school at Leonardtown Middle School. It's the night of the National Junior Honor Society induction ceremony. Right after the current student member of the Board of Education gave her speech, all the inductees were asked to stand up and say what their plans for the future were. And I confidently said, I am Judy Wynn, and I want to go to Yale University to become a lawyer. Now, it's been 7 years, and I am 17 now, since Yale became my dream, and I have used it as a motivator in many aspects of my life. But don't get me wrong, I don't do the things I do because it looks good for college. I do them because I love it or I have a passion for it. So I'm very happy to announce that I have been accepted to Brown, Columbia, Dartmouth, Harvard, and Yale. And I would actually like to attribute this accomplishment to the SMCPS system. When asked how did I have access to so many opportunities, the plain answer was my school system, and a little perseverance in seeking it out. I am beyond lucky to be able to take courses geared towards my future career goals in the Academy of Global and International Studies. My involvement in student government is due to the robust opportunities that we have here. I was able to publish my research study in an academic journal because of the AP Capstone program here in the county. It really takes a village, or in my case, a school system, to nurture students for 13 years and then to send them off wherever life might take them. Again, I don't think I'll ever find the right words to express how grateful I am to SMCPS, and I might have gone to Calvert County Public Schools for 3 years, but I am most prideful to be from St. Mary's County. All right, that's all. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
Follow that,
after,
Rita.
I know, I can't top that one. You should have went last.
Just like drop the mic.
We're done.
So today is Envirothon competition for St. Mary's County. So after the board meeting, I will be heading there. They actually start at 8:30 in the morning, and they will be going through, awards are I think at 1:30 this afternoon. So the Envirothon is something that I really enjoy going to and seeing our students compete. And I've done it for the last 7 years. This will be my 8th year going. They have, and it's put on by the Soil Conservation, and thank you to Bruce Young for sponsoring this. And the schools have teams, and including like St. Mary's Riken also participates. So they have 5 different categories which they need to study and compete in, and it's aquatics, forestry, soils, and wildlife. And the wildlife is what is in Maryland. And then they have a 5th issue, which is always, picked out ahead of time. And I'm trying to see what their 5th issue is: waste to resources. So good luck to all the teams, and I will be seeing them in a little bit.
My daughter participated last year, and they did it virtually. So that was hats off to them for doing it virtually, because they flash like wildlife up on the screen, and then you have to identify it really quickly. So it was like super quick, like Jeopardy flashcards. So I'm very glad that it's back in person and outside.
Right.
So. Let's see, I have 2 things. Number one, let's see, I have spoken before about I'm a member of the School Safety Commission, so we met on Monday, today's Wednesday, for 2 hours, just continuing our recommendations. There's a lot of talk about obtaining personnel for the school system and the staffing shortages, and they were trying to come up with like a very concise recommendation to provide to the sub-cabinet board. So Dr. Arlotto and I both chimed in that it's not a simple solution, and if anyone on that, member board could come up with an answer, we would all jump on it, because it is certainly not, it is not a one-step, one-liner for anything. So that probably took up the majority of the meeting, was just talking about staffing shortages across all of the systems and across the state. And then my last comment is going to be a huge thank you to the transportation department. And I did see Mr. Thompson last night at a baseball game, and I thanked him in person. But the amount of coordination that our school system is doing to ensure that our children not only get to school each day, but then also to extracurricular activities. And I'm going to bring this up because the spring sports are going on. Teams from our neighboring SMAC counties are doubling up teams and buses, and they're going to different locations. So for instance, my daughter plays softball. The team from Calvert County, they left their home high school, had to go to a completely separate high school to drop off another sports team before arriving to their game. So as far as I know, St. Mary's County, we're not doing that, right?
No.
Great Mills has a game at Northern. Everyone gets on the bus, they go to Northern. It's not a bus stop process to get our sports teams anywhere. So I know there's an incredible amount of coordination, and I know the team was late in arriving on Wednesday from Calvert County. And it took all of the parents by surprise that, that the school systems have to do this, and very thankful that St. Mary's is not. So, it's the little things like that, aren't in the paper or, get tweeted out. But, it does make a huge difference to a lot of parents and students. So I'm just offering a huge thank you to everyone who is so dedicated to make sure that, everything is operating normally, but in some counties it's not, but in here it certainly is. So thank you.
First, hello everybody. First, I want to thank Judy for her wonderful speech, and also it's been a pleasure working with her. Also, thank you for holding fast to your dream that you had at a young age, that you wanted to go to a particular law school and to become a lawyer. So that just lets us know that we have a good school system, which you attested to, and that our students can reach their goal if they stick to their goal. And you can be anything you want to be if you work hard at it and you put your mind to it and you stay on that straight and narrow path. So thank you so much, and we hope to hear from you to let us know how you're doing. We know you're going to do well anyway. I attended the Dr. James A. Forrest Career and Technology Center National Technical Honor Society with the board members, the superintendent, and the deputy superintendent. 41 students were inducted, and there are 7 attributes of being inducted into the National Technical Honor Society. It's a few more than just being in the Honor Society. It's skills, honesty, service, responsibility, scholarship, citizenship, and leadership. I want to thank Mrs. Thompson, who was the lead advisor for the Technical Honor Society. And to be considered for the National Technical Honor Society, a student must have maintained a cumulative 3.0 GPA and have demonstrated a history of service, leadership, and character. And in order to stay in the Technical Honor Society, you must maintain that status. So thanks to all the students who were inducted, the educators who helped them to get there, and their parents. It was a wonderful ceremony. Thank you.
May I borrow your other one? Sorry, I thought I had brought it with me. I am a member of the Leonardtown Rotary Club, Rotary International is predicated on the belief of service above self. And they have several different areas of focus internationally. And they're able to do a lot by virtue of the fact that it is not a political organization in any way. And so they're able to go into a lot of countries around the world and work on clean water projects and a great many other issues because they are not a political organization, not a political body. Last night, the Lexington Park Rotary Club and the Leonardtown Rotary Club partnered to have a teacher appreciation dinner. It's one that they do every year, but as a result of the pandemic have not been able to have the dinner the last couple of years, and was thrilled to be there with Mrs. Weaver, Mrs. Washington, Mrs. Bailey stopped in for a bit from her baseball game.
Schedule.
It wasn't my baseball game.
Yeah, well, yeah. She was wearing her parent hat last night, and then Mr. Davis was there as well, along with the superintendent. Great evening honoring 7 wonderful education professionals from food service worker all the way up through Washington Post Principal of the Year, Janet Fowler. And we honored last night the last 2 years winners of the St. Mary's County Public School Teacher of the Year, Ms. Denith Brown-Taylor and Ms. April Ryan, both of whom received not only a certificate, but a check for $1,000 in a small measure of thanks for all that they have done throughout their careers to further the success of our students. And so I was thrilled to be able to participate with such a wonderful group of people.
Fantastic. So, look, I even have a picture of it.
Oh, look at that.
So it ended last night around 8 o'clock, and I made sure that we came out here and put the picture in there. What a fantastic group. Irene Hall, Education Sport Professional of the Year from Spring Ridge Middle School. She's the food service manager. Janet Fowler, the Washington Post Principal of the Year for 2020, 2020, 21, 22. April Ryan, the Teacher of the Year for 2020, 2021. Denith Brown-Taylor, Dr. Taylor, for 2019, 2020. I also posted a picture of just she and I standing together in front of the cake. It was nice. Jennifer Vanderval, SMECO Science Teacher of the Year. Lindsay Healy, SMECO Science Teacher of the Year, and Paul Quaid, SMECO Math Teacher of the Year. It was great. It was a great group together. Love the Rotary. Love the people that come out and show their support for education. It was really great. These are all of the people who were named at the end of last year, and that's when the process, and their pictures are up on our walls. We had a great bit of fun last week getting out to recognize the 2022-2023 next year's exceptional employees. So Lindsay Simone at Mechanicsville Elementary School, she is going to be the St. Mary's County Public Schools Washington Post Teacher of the Year going into next year. Absolutely wonderful. Mechanicsville, man, they pulled out all the stops and all the kids came out in front, and we were right in the middle of the dark clouds on one side, dark clouds on the other, and a little bit of sunlight right in the middle, and we wedged it in, and they had poppers. It was great. Melissa Kiernan, special ed teacher at Leonardtown High School, absolutely wonderful. Dr. Montgomery and I both had the pleasure of working directly with her. She's fantastic. She is the SMCPS Maryland Teacher of the Year, so she will join the ranks with Dr. Brown-Taylor and April Ryan and then Melissa Kiernan. Paul Fenwick, the Building Service Manager for Park Hall Elementary School, is the St. Mary's County Public Schools Employee Support Professional of the Year. He was absolutely wonderful, and he's been instrumental in shepherding that school through the last very challenging 2 years. And finally, our Principal of the Year moving forward is Miss Jamie Jameson, Principal of the Year from Evergreen Elementary School. We're going to have a lot of fun. So The staff recognition ceremony is on Tuesday, May 3rd. I think it starts at 6 o'clock at Chopticon High School. We will be recognizing all of our fantastic nominees from each one of the schools, as well as having speeches from each one of these 4 people. They're going to bring us words and their thoughts as to what makes their time with St. Mary's County Public Schools so exceptional. So really, really great stuff. It's so much fun to go out and spread joy. Did some classroom visiting. Teachers, I tell them, please invite me into your class. I'll come in, I'll read, I'll do whatever. This is Miss Sobachinsky's 3rd grade class at Evergreen Elementary School, where we read Joanna Gaines' book, We Are the Gardeners. And it's a great story about, they started with a fern and they gave it too much water and they put it in direct sunlight and it died. And so then they had to go out and learn more about like what helps plants grow and what have you. And throughout the whole thing, all of these children, they were focusing on persistence, problem solving, and patience. The 3 Ps. And man, if that doesn't resonate with all of us, we all need to be Judy. We need to be persistent. We need to problem solve, and we have to have patience. Because when I was 11 years old, I certainly wasn't thinking about where I was going to go to college. I was thinking of, I don't know, Scooby-Doo. But persistence, problem solving, and patience. It was so much fun. She said she said that she teaches the very best 3rd grade in the state of Maryland in the United States, and boy, it certainly seemed that way. They were a lot of fun. The National Technical Honor Society, absolutely wonderful. 41 first-year inductees, 8 second-year inductees. What a great group. Mary Thompson, she's just an absolute treasure. I had her send me the speech, and unfortunately I haven't got a time to extract it. I'm going to use, when people give really good speeches, I gather them together over the year so I can, kind of take really good stuff for the end when I have to bring words. She had a couple of great quotes from Kung Fu Panda. It turns out there's great wisdom to be gleaned from Kung Fu Panda. So I'm going to be using all of that. And Summer Laraco, the National Technical Honor Society president, she did a really nice job.
Yes, she did.
So while we were at the Forest Center, the Teachers Academy of Maryland. This is the future of St. Mary's County. It truly is. We're trying to find children who might be interested in education and then inspiring them in middle school, rising through high school. Melissa Chu is the teacher, and this young lady, you see her in both. She's in the kind of tan sweater. You would think that she was the classroom teacher. You truly would. Abigail McCauley, she's a senior. She's graduating and going off to school to pursue elementary education. I think early elementary education. She's such a natural in front of the kids. Miss Grabenstein's is kind of her coordinating teacher. It's really incredible. You see how much training and preparation they can have while they're still in high school. And we're going to be talking a lot about developing this, enhancing the Teachers Academy of Maryland, talking about how we draw people into the school system at any level. Because we have a lot of vacancies. We continue to have a lot of vacancies. About 130 vacancies right now that we know of across all the sectors of the school system. There are 2,300 employees, and so when you have 130 that are positions that are vacant, it challenges us in every single way. So one of the things that we're really going to be working on with a grant that we just submitted, Dr. Montgomery, we submitted the lead grant, I think, on Friday? Yeah. Talking about the way that we can grow our own teachers. And so we'll be giving a little preview of that tomorrow at the State of the School. So if you're interested, be there or be square. The State of the Schools are going to be talking about the future. So very awesome stuff. But yeah, so anybody who wants to join our team, that's great. We have lots of opportunities. And, oh, by the way, when we come back from break on April 20th, we're going to do a virtual job fair for all of the vacancies in St. Mary's County Public Schools, current and anticipated for the 2023 school year. Starts at 12, goes to 8. We have staff signing up as the recruiters, as the interviewers across all elements of the school system. So you want to be a nurse, somebody will interview you. You want to work in maintenance or operations, somebody's going to be there to interview. Transportation, food service, psychologist, teacher at all different levels, teachers at all different schools. Career Fair Plus, we're all getting trained on it. Once you set up your profile, it seems like it's pretty user-friendly, but they have millions of people across the entire United States who are on this platform looking for work. It's the largest job warehousing program specifically targeted towards education as well as other things. So we're very hopeful that that's going to really draw some people to St. Mary's County that maybe they hadn't heard of us. And so draw them down. I know we have the flyer. This is also going to be emphasized tomorrow at the State of the Schools. So we're going to be talking about come work for us. We did a preview of the high school musicals that were coming up. The middle school musicals are also underway. Leonardtown Middle School did Mary Poppins Jr. last weekend. I did not get to go, but the current president of the Leonardtown Rotary, David McCullough, both of his children were in it, and he had rave reviews about it. So I hope that you had the opportunity to go and see it. Shrek is coming up on at Esperanza Middle School for April 21st to the 23rd. And then if you wait until the 29th through the 30th, you can go to Margaret Brent Middle School to see Seussical the Musical, or you can go to the Chesapeake Public Charter School and see the Magical Land of Oz. And then all the way into May, don't worry, there's still great things to do in May. You can go to Spring Ridge Middle School's performance of Moana Jr. May 6th and 7th. So there's lots of stuff. That was one of the things we emphasized last night was we are returning to that great sense of normal. And so we see kids on the fields, in the classroom, on the stage. It's just great. It's great. So here we are in April. Check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark. 2 days. We're going to call this one. It's already underway. So we're already underway. 2 days until we hit spring break. Friday is an early release day, and then we have off the entire week before Easter, and then that Monday following. Schools and offices are going to be closed to the public. Please enjoy your time away from St. Mary's County Public Schools. Enjoy your time with your family, with your friends. Hopefully, maybe traveling. Who knows? But we are going to close them so people can do the work that needs to be done, and we will reopen April 19th. So for anybody sending an email to a teacher or support staff, or even central office staff, you may well find yourself with the receipt of an out-of-office reply that says, "Thank you very much. I will be returning to the office on Tuesday, April 19th, at which time I will respond to the thousands of emails I'm sure that will come in." But we all need a break. We've all worked really, really, really hard, and it's been 5 solid weeks since we've had a break. So we are definitely looking forward to it. So with that and that great graphic, I conclude my remarks, and thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, let's see, we have no public hearing. Public comment?
Yes, ma'am, we have one.
Okay. I'm going to call that person, and I will read our public comment statement. All right. So we welcome public input on policies and issues affecting our schools. We take this time to listen and consider, but not comment. This is not the appropriate forum for negative comments or criticisms of individual staff or students. That should be resolved at the level closest to the situation and/or directed to the superintendent. We also, please keep in mind, we sit as an appellate body in both student and employee appeals, so we cannot comment on or have prior knowledge of a case that would influence our ability to deliberate. Let's see, public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker, and you may not yield your time to someone else, and obviously you've signed in prior to the meeting. So Brian will begin the timer, and you're on.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sarah Penrod, president of ESMIC, speaking for ESMIC. Kind of in line with several of the comments the board have already made today about our situation with staffing issues. I woke up one morning a few weeks ago, and like the millennial I am, I checked Facebook before I even crawled out of bed, and I laughed at all of my memories from 2020, thinking that we were only going to be out of school for 2 weeks. And over the next several days, I watched myself slowly lose hope, and then eventually started seeing the post about us trying to get some sort of hybrid education to work. And we did. We had virtual work. We made hybrid work. And we've made it through three quarters of the school year. It's not a normal school year by far, but it's as close as we've gotten in the last couple of years, and we're surviving and we're thriving, and our students are catching up. Unfortunately, our staff is breaking. We have pushed them to the breaking point. Educators and support professionals are experiencing burnouts at levels we've never seen. Veteran teachers who have taught for years, for decades, they're leaving the profession early. We've always had an issue with early career educators, but now we're seeing veteran teachers and support staff. They're not replaceable. We already have so many open positions. I'm afraid that at the end of this school year, we're going to have a mass exodus of teachers and support professionals. And what are we going to do? ESMIC has requested to open negotiations with no response as of yet. We have presented possible ideas to make this better. We would really like to work with SMCPS on this because we don't have a choice. We have to do something before the crisis gets worse. And I just want to take a moment to say, congratulations, Judy. But also thank you to all of our teachers, our support professionals who are still showing up every day, even though when they show up to school, when they show up to the office, when they show up to work, when they show up on their school bus, they're exhausted. They're broken. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any more public comment?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Do I have a second?
Aye, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have one action item this morning. It is new materials for middle school science. Mr. Hayes. Scott's our technical support, so.
If you press escape, it should dump out that PowerPoint. There you go.
Good.
Look at that.
Mr.
Even without being-
Hayes knows what to do.
I'll say that now.
Well, either way.
Just jinxed us. Good morning, Board of Ed. Good to see all of you in person. It's been a while. I am here this morning to present to you new materials adoption for middle school science. So this school year is the final year of our contract with our current vendor, which is Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, or HMH Dimensions. So last summer, I contacted other vendors, Amplify Science and Open SciEd, to talk about their products. And they were very amenable to sending us products, and they even took it a step further and said, if you want, you can have teachers pilot the new materials. And so I thought that was a pretty good idea. So I went back to my middle school teachers, brought this up, and they were very agreeable to the idea as well. I'm blessed with wonderful teachers. I'll just say that right now. They always step up, and they stepped up in this case. So I had representation from all the middle schools to pilot the materials. So in August, we got the materials from the companies, and we brought the teachers in, and we trained them. And so throughout the entire fall semester then, we had the teachers across the county piloting Amplify Science, piloting Open SciEd, and then those teachers that weren't piloting those materials were using what we already had, which is HMH Science Dimensions. Throughout the fall semester then, I was able to go out and meet with teachers, those pilot teachers, just really to hear from them how things were going, just debriefing with them. What did they like about the products? What did they not like about the products? Were there aspects of the products that the students liked, that the students did not like, and so on. So those are the dates you see that I got out to see those teachers and meet with those teachers, mostly in person, as my schedule allowed. This was also a time, too, throughout the fall semester where I was able to get out and see the products being used myself, whether it was a brief 10, 15-minute pop-in, or in some cases, some of the pilot teachers were non-tenured, so I had to observe them anyway. So I got to see the products being used for a 45-minute class period, which was really cool, I thought. So those are the dates I was able to get out and see those materials being used. So at the end of the pilot then, I gave our pilot teachers a rubric to score those materials, and this is a rubric that I got from my fellow supervisors who had recently gone through adoptions of their own. I modified it for science. So our pilot teachers scored their products in January and February of this year. And I also generated a Google form that I gave to the pilot teachers to give to the students, just a random sampling, just to see what the students thought about those products as well, to see if they thought they were easy to use and so on. And then in March, I convened our steering committee, which was composed of teachers, an instructional resource teacher, parents. We had representation from special ed, representation from the Office of Equity. So in March, then, we met with the vendors, and the vendors gave their presentations. We were able to ask questions, really deep down questions about the products. We were able to examine the resources provided by those vendors. These were also meetings where we reviewed the teacher scores on the rubrics, and we reviewed the survey results from the students. So we deliberated, and then we made our recommendations. The rubric that our teachers used covered 5 things, and these were the same 5 things that we as a committee looked at. The first one being content and alignment, and put simply, were the materials aligned to the next generation science standard? So as you know, Maryland is a next generation science standard adopted state since 2013. These are the standards by which our K-12 students are held. So are the materials aligned to those standards? The second criteria is organization and presentation. Looking at the product scope and sequence, does it lay out in a logical, sequential manner? Is there consistency, lesson to lesson, unit to unit, and so on? Are the materials visually appealing to our students and to our teachers? Is the font size large enough, and so on? The third criteria is instructional design, and that kind of goes hand in hand with number 1. So with the next generation science standards, it's a brand new way of teaching science. So with the next gen standards, students use what's called 3-dimensional learning. So the first dimension being science and engineering practices. So these are the things they do in science class. So they are going to analyze data. They're going to construct an explanation. They're going to carry out an investigation, those kind of things. The second dimension are called the cross-cutting concepts, and these are the connections they use to bridge between the science and engineering practices and the third dimension, which are the disciplinary core ideas, in other words, the content. So does the instructional design of the product lend itself to promote 3-dimensional learning with the students, which puts more of the emphasis on student-centered learning as opposed to teacher-directed learning? And to go along with that is the instructional design based on phenomena. Synonymous with the next gen standards, students learn something about a real world phenomena, or they solve a problem, or they try to answer a question. Does that instructional design lend itself for that as well? The fourth criteria are assessments. Does the product have resources and strategies that our teachers can use to assess their students formatively and summatively? And to take it a step further, do those summative assessments reach the level of rigor for our own Maryland Integrated Science Assessment, or MESA, because our 8th grade students are bound to take that MESA, which covers 6th, 7th, and 8th grade material. So are the assessment items in keeping with the MESA? In other words, do students have to analyze a text or analyze data or look at an image or interact with a simulation and then use evidence from those things to answer a writing prompt or to answer a multiple choice question with more than one answer or a drag and drop question, those kind of things. So are there interactive assessment items? And then the final criteria is equity and accessibility. Are the materials going to reach our diverse student populations? Are there strategies in place for our teachers to promote equity in their classrooms and reaching our visual learners, our kinesthetic learners, our learners with disabilities, and so on? So that was the task of our steering committee. We met, we looked at the data, we looked at the presentations, we looked at these criteria, and our recommendation then is to go with Amplify Science. Some highlights from this product: it is aligned to the next generation science standards in that it does promote that three-dimensional learning. So students are going to they're going to develop a model, they're going to carry out an investigation, and then they're going to use those cross-cutting concepts to help them better understand the disciplinary core ideas. So an example could be weather. So they're going to analyze weather data, and using the cross-cutting concept of patterns, they're going to look for patterns or trends in that data to help them better understand why winters are so much colder than summers and so on. All of the units in Amplify Science are phenomena-based. So everything starts off with a phenomena. So for example, for 7th grade, which is life science for us in St. Mary's County, students have to investigate why a body of water all of a sudden has an increase in the population of moon jellyfish. So throughout that entire unit, they're going to use three-dimensional learning to figure out, is it an environmental thing that's happening, is it something human-induced, and try to better explain why this is happening. Amplify Science has a very strong focus on disciplinary literacy. Students are going to read informational text. They're going to use those informational texts to pull evidence from to write a claim evidence reasoning or to write a writing prompt. One of the pieces of feedback I heard over and over from the teachers that piloted Amplify Science was that in the short time they piloted, they saw improvements in their students' reading and writing. So the hope there is that it could transcend and help with ELA and with our MCAP scores with that. Another aspect of the Next Gen standards is the focus on engineering design. So Amplify Science is taking care of that. Each grade level, students will have 2 engineering internships where they will interact with the CEO of a company. That CEO will pose a challenge to them. It will give them the criteria with which they have to work with, the constraints. They will then collaborate like engineers do. They will design something that they have to do. They will test it. 9 times out of 10, it's not going to work the first time, so they will have to go back to the drawing board, retest it, redesign, and go through that whole process over again. There are online simulations available. There are hands-on labs as well, but for our learners that prefer online simulations, those are available as well. The one piece of feedback we heard from those, or we saw from those student surveys, was that it was very easy to access and very easy to use. And that ties in with the last bullet there, is that this product will integrate with Schoology. I was able to see it in Schoology. It's going to be very easy for our teachers to pull the activities and the lessons over from their groups into their classroom and their course in Schoology. The students won't have to launch out of Schoology to access Amplify Science. Everything will be right in Schoology to use. One more thing to mention about this product is that looking at Ed Reports, it was highly rated. As a matter of fact, it was the highest rated product of all of the middle school products that they reviewed that are currently on the market. So it got green across the entire board for design for the next gen standards, coherence and scope, usability. So I feel confident that if approved, that we'll be providing our teachers and our students a very highly rated, as a matter of fact, the highest rated product that is currently out there on the market. Teachers would receive print editions of their teacher guides. They would also have access to online versions of those. So if they want to have a copy at home, they can have that, but they can also access it online. Each year of the contracts, the teachers would receive all the lab materials they need to carry out the hands-on activities that are part of the units. Teachers would receive printable materials, so things they can put up in their classroom, like the CER template, vocabulary words for a word wall, again, getting to that disciplinary literacy, essential questions for that unit. Teachers would have access to all those interactive simulations I mentioned. They would have access to all the articles, information text sources, lab sheets, worksheets. Everything is available online and as a PDF and can be printed out as such. And then teachers would have access to all of the assessment resources and items. Students would have access to everything online. So if a teacher decides for a week we're going to unplug and we're going to do the lessons on paper, the teacher has that option of going to the PDF, printing them out. We can work with Print Shop if teachers would like to have packets made up for students with disabilities that would prefer to have something tangible. We can certainly work through all of that. So next steps, pending board approval, I'm planning professional development for our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teachers on August 18th, which is our PD day for the new school year. And I would like to have it that 6th grade teachers get training separate from 7th grade, get separate from 8th grade, because they are different contents. And I want that training to be very detailed, looking at labs and how can we scaffold for our advanced learners, how can we scaffold for our learners with disabilities, and so on. So the cost of the science adoption, we're looking at an 8-year contract, and you can see the cost for all of the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade materials. This includes the professional development over that 8-year period and shipping and handling. So the 8-year contract, we're looking at $472,264.80. And my recommendation is that the Board of Education approve this agenda item as presented. So I thank you for your time, and do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, I have a few comments and then a question at the end. So, when I was in middle school, I despised going to like the textbook websites just because it was this whole separate platform, and you had to remember your login.
Mm-hmm.
You had to find out what the URL was, go to that website, and log in and try to navigate the website. And typically, it was very hard to navigate. But since this program is integratable with Schoology, I think it'll be very easy for our middle schoolers currently to use it, since they are very acquainted with Schoology now. Another plus I see is that with your description of the activities available, it seems fun, and it's very important that learning is fun, because in middle school it's so easy to check out. I remember falling asleep a lot just because
And she's going to Yale.
I checked out, so it sounds very fun. But and then my question is, can you provide some sample questions that you asked the students? And then how you asked them to score it? Was it on a scale, or was it open-ended questions?
It was on a scale from 1 to 5, and I can't think of the questions off the top of my head, but I will certainly provide them for you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Could you provide examples of how the engineering internships would work?
So the one that I saw when I was doing my walkthroughs, I saw 8th grade teachers, or 8th grade students rather, they had to develop a baby warmer, and they had to, given the parameters, the materials that were given to them, this was done virtually, they had to design it so that if a baby were to be put into this baby warmer, it would be safe and it would be nurtured and so on. So that's an example I saw for 8th grade. So they had to manipulate the temperature, they had to manipulate the kind of materials that they used, tested if it was in the ranges, it was considered good. If not, they had to go back and try different materials and so on. Some of the engineering challenges, from what I've seen, are actually hands-on. This one that I saw in that case was virtual.
Okay, so they would basically work in groups to accomplish a task.
Yes.
Okay. Then the next thing is the professional development, and I know that you're having it right now, August 18th. What will you be doing, let's say if someone comes in to, teach in middle school and they come in September 1st? How will you do the professional development with that person?
My experience with Amplify Science has been so far that they are very amenable and agreeable to follow-up sessions. So if there's a case where a teacher were to come in after that date, it would be very easy for me to contact Amplify Science, and we could work out a webinar session or some kind of a one-on-one with that teacher to make sure they get what they need.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think the process is incredibly detailed and thorough, and I'm happy that you had input from everyone, especially the students, because you're right, middle school, a lot of kids do just check out and do a variety of other things other than listening to science teachers speak. Sorry,
That's not true, Jason.
Right.
That's not been my experience.
So
I'm a realist. So.
So, and I appreciate, I like all the interaction, and the examples that are given, and different types of lessons that can be tailored. So I do just want to point out that just for everyone, and I know there was a press release that went out that all these materials were made available to the community in each of the public libraries.
Yes,
So
for 2 weeks.
Right. So and so everyone has had a chance, if they wanted to go and look at them. And we have the boxes in the back that we were looking at before we came out here. So, so I appreciate you continuing to take that initiative to make sure that, you know, that the community does see what we're spending almost $500,000 on. So.
I want to thank you for an excellent presentation. You covered a lot of things. I appreciate the fact that it was piloted and you got a chance to observe it being taught for 45 minutes. You got input from the students and the teachers, and that was taken into consideration. And it aligns with the new math standards. It sounds like it's STEM, this science, this new program, that everybody will get STEM if they take this science, this new science class. So you did a wonderful presentation, and you covered it from beginning to end, and thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Having a son who's an engineer and went to a college that really stressed hands-on real-world applications of solving issues, the interest that it sparks and the ability for students to really take a concept and not just have it out without any relation to the real world. They learn so much more, they internalize, and then can utilize that information well beyond the classroom. It makes a real difference. And so I'm really pleased that you have been able to find a textbook series and basically a program that will accommodate getting kids excited about what they're doing, and then helping them not just listen to information, but to really take it, use it, and therefore, I think just it sort of imprints in their brain matter a lot more easily, and it has a great deal more meaning. So I'm excited about this, and as I understand it, we did not have any public input from people taking a look at the various series. You didn't hear any concerns about the materials. So I also think that's a real positive as well. So thanks very much for the presentation and your excitement, I think, about what you're bringing forward to us.
Thank you.
So, thanks.
May I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education approve the adoption of instructional materials and associated professional development for middle school science from the publisher Amplify Science at an approximate cost of $472,264.
Have a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you very much, Mr. Hayes.
Off to Envirothon.
Yes.
All right, enjoy. I'll see you in
Boots
a
are in the
little
car.
bit.
Thank you.
All right, let's see, National School Library Month. Ms. Wysokinski.
See if I could be as seamless as Jason. Okay, thank you for having me today. This month is National School Library Month. Actually, Monday was just National School Library Day. So I wanted to just take some time to recognize our staff, what we do in the libraries, and just kind of how we're transitioning back to our face-to-face like everyone else is. I am going to start with a video. Jason Reynolds, he's probably written, I would say, close to 20 novels now. He's a young adult author. Some books in the elementary school as well. I had the honor of seeing him a few years ago at the Maryland Association of School Libraries conference. I have a colleague, Crystal Johnston. I'm not sure if you've seen him, but he's kind of a celebrity, if you will, to us school librarians. So he's got a quick little video on what it's like to be in the library.
Writing's not that easy, but
It's
Grammarly
not.
can help. This sentence is grammatically correct, but it's wordy and hard to read. It undermines the writer's message, and the word choice is bland. Grammarly's cutting-edge technology helps you craft compelling, understandable writing that makes an impact on your reader. Much better. Are you ready to give it a try? Installation is simple and free.
Hit skip ad.
Visit Grammarly.com today.
I'm trying to get this back up.
Yeah, you've got to drift over. The screen's extended.
I'm Jason Reynolds. And admittedly, when I was a kid, I didn't spend much time in the school library. But that's only because I had no idea that school libraries are as amazing as they are. 20 years later, now what I can see and begrudgingly admit to myself is that school libraries for many, many students are places of refuge. The school library serves as a safe bastion for kids who just want to feel less alone. They're also places of recognition where young people can come in and see each other, create networks amongst one another, and see their faces and their stories and their names on all the books on the shelves and all the other creative components that libraries now offer, including technology. Also, they're places of research. Obviously, everybody knows you go to the school library to find out information, but that information usually comes through a specific conduit, a special resource, and that resource is the school librarian. Now, that librarian has one job. Her job is to basically serve as a buttress, as an affirmation and a confirmation for every single student that walks through those doors. Now, that sounds like a special place, and it is, as special as I make it sound. Now, if you want to join me in celebrating the school libraries around this country, please check out the American Association of School Librarians at aasl.org.
Okay. So let's see if I can now get this back up here. There we go. Okay, so one of the things that he focused on.
A good movie can really grab your attention. This weekend,
The kids and
Like,
There we go. I swear, I know what I'm doing. Typically, I really do.
I clicked on the same thing she did.
I just don't even know what to say right now. Okay.
I believe that you'd be appropriate in blaming me. When I
Oh.
opened, I don't know what I've done, but I obviously,
Well, we keep
sorry.
seeing the superintendent's report.
Yeah,
thing,
I
so-
didn't
You feel like you've done
close it
something.
out properly, so my apologies to all.
Hopefully no more snafus.
There you
Okay. So Jason Reynolds talks about school librarians as a conduit, and I really thought that word stuck out to me when it comes to talking about what our school librarians do on a day-to-day basis. Because if you look at our school librarians from grades K to 12, their job is really different. Elementary, middle, and high school, a media center, when you walk into it, looks completely different at every grade level. But they're doing the same things. They're helping kids find books. They're trying to foster a love of reading in children. They're doing research, especially at our secondary levels. And even our littlest learners, they're starting on Capstone and Pebble Go from the time that they're in kindergarten. So when they get to us in middle and high school, they know what research is, they know what a database is. So in addition, obviously we have classroom lessons, professional development, and now that we're all back together again, really fostering that in our media specialists to be, knowledgeable of all of our ed tech platforms. And then most importantly, what I've been seeing across the school system this year is that community building, which our libraries are known for. So the library is a safe place. I think that's what the video kind of encompassed, that students come to the library to seek out a refuge, whether that is to read or to meet with friends or to gather as a group for a project. In my time as a media specialist, I definitely saw that in the schools, that sometimes kids just need a place to go that's outside of their normal classroom environment. And they come to read books because they see themselves in the books and the authors. And I think that now more than ever, we're seeing kids come back to the library to get books so they can understand what's going on in the world and to really connect with a character. And I just included that quote there from Albert Einstein, is the only thing that you absolutely have to know is the location of the library. So I did gather some pictures. Book fairs are back. Anyone in this room probably knows the kids love scholastic book fairs. It is what they just look forward to all school year. So LMS had one, that was their setup. I've actually heard a lot of stories that because of shipping and because of the interest in Scholastic book fairs, that our book fairs in this county have sold out almost all of their product by the end of the book fair. So that's just due in part to everyone just wanting to be back at the book fair and just have some sense of normalcy again. And then this is Chopticon High School. They are doing some makerspace activities, Barbie bungee. So they came in to do some type of experiment to see how long it would take for Barbie to bungee from the top of the bookshelves. And then Miss O'Neill always does a great job getting kids caught reading and taking pictures. So you can see here in the middle that someone's there helping her to catalog. And then we have a young lady just coming in to read and relax. I can't say enough about the great African American read-ins that our libraries put together, specifically Spring Ridge and Great Mills. And Trish Cole had support. I see Dr. Smith's in there. I see Miss Washington in some of these pictures. So they do a great job outreaching to the community to have people come in and help support the schools. And it's really good for the kids to see that these community members are coming in, as well as our central office staff. And then Great Mills High School also hosts Library Day, so the kids get to come in for 2 hours and just go from stations. They make bracelets, they create graphic novels, they had a photo booth for The Hate You Give. So it makes kids feel like they have a sense and a purpose. So maybe they're not going in there to read all the time, but they know that they can go in there and do other things. And then Grandview Knolls, they're back to doing their maker spaces during their library times. Duke, we have a picture here of Girls Who Code. So Girls Who Code is actually something that is run through the state, and then we just do the outreach to see if anyone's interested in running a Girls Who Code book club. And I would have to say that by and large, the people who run it are the media specialists at our elementary schools. Mm-hmm. And then we had Harry Potter Day. And I had to include this picture because at Letty Dent, Miss Wathen had potatoes dressed up as favorite book characters. And so that was all of their book characters there. And then I know over the past 2 years or so at this point, we've really had to rethink our libraries because when things did close down, we had to make sure we had access to everything that we needed online. So we have such great high quality ebook subscriptions in Lightbox and AV2. Of course, we have all of our databases. We partnered with the St. Mary's County Library the year before the pandemic hit, so that was really excellent timing because our students had access to the public library online. And then coming for school year 22-23, I just got Sora approved as an online platform. There's no cost for Sora except for the books that we decide to purchase as a school system or as an individual school. And what I love about Sora is that Sora is actually Libby from the public library. They work hand in hand, so our kiddos will be able to use Sora to find their ebooks, and it's tying right back into our public library. So they're going to have access to the ones that we purchased, but they're also going to have seamless access to the ones from the public library. So I'm really excited about that. And then in addition to what our folks in the media centers are doing day to day with students, they're really managing a plethora of resources, including those 18,000 laptops and chargers that are in our schools right now. And it's been a challenge this year to go into some of the media centers and just see what they're having to deal with on top of everything, but they're doing such a good job, and we're really working with IT to make sure that our partnership is what it needs to be so that we're still focusing on instruction and they're getting the support that we need to make sure that the kids have what they need as far as laptops and chargers and all the stuff they need for instruction. And I really do want to give a shout out to media clerks as well. I feel like sometimes we focus on the media specialists because it's National School Librarian Month, but really the media clerks, we have media clerks across all of our elementary schools to a degree. There's some elementary schools or smaller ones that work without a clerk. So those media specialists are doing their full-time job in addition to all the check-in, cataloging, checkout. We do have our larger elementary schools that have the support of a clerk, and our high schools have a clerk, and they're really just all day doing the same thing as a media specialist. They're checking devices in, they're helping manage resources, they're fielding emails from me, looking for books to send to other schools. So they really are an integral part, and we really couldn't do our job without them. And then I do have a special recognition. Miss Jessica Deeney, who works at Ridge Elementary, she was nominated for her Educator of the Year. And I also have Miss Crystal Johnston with us in the audience. Not only was she nominated, but she was also one of the 9 finalists for the System Teacher of the Year nomination. And I didn't want to do the math here, but past couple years, we've had media specialists nominated at their site for Teacher of the Year. And when we look across the system at how many teachers we have and how many employees are in a school, to know that the media specialist is being recognized by their peers for that really says a lot about what goes on in these buildings and just how hardworking and visible they are in their system. So a huge shout out to Crystal. And then just to close, we're always evolving. I feel like every year, especially as we're transitioning back, just looking, what is the job? How do we meet the needs of online readers, in-person readers? How do we get back to some normalcy? And I think that we're really seeing that. Kids are so excited to go to the media centers because it has really become their makerspace outlet as well, and just recognizing the fact that it has evolved over the past few years. So just a huge thank you to all the media staff, and open to any questions or comments.
I didn't realize it to know until your presentation, but I would say that the library is my favorite place in the high school. And it's funny because the way Leonardtown is set up, the library is on the 2nd floor, but it's like at the center of everything. So the library is literally the heart of the school.
Yeah.
And I just have a lot of fond memories for the past 4 years going there. And I even wrote my college essays in there. And like sometimes I just stay in there after school and just, get some work done. It really is a community. And like my school librarian, Mrs. Hager, she's like, it's like a mom to me. She's amazing. And Mr. Downs, who's a media clerk, he's also super amazing. So I know this is reflected across the county, but our libraries are definitely the place to be. And people who don't like take advantage of the library, like, I don't know what's up, but like you should be there.
I know, I walk through them during one lunch, and it's just, everybody's just in there, eating, hanging out, doing work. It really is essential, so I'm glad to hear that.
I'm glad you're bringing some more ebooks to the kids so that they have access to it, because, it's great, like on your Kindle or on your computer, to be able to read those. So.
I think across our system, the libraries are very inviting and welcoming. In elementary school, it's like a colorful break from the classroom, especially if you are a child who does not necessarily excel in the classroom. You can still open up in the library and have your imagination and not be stressed about anything, maybe for that time in there. So I think it's probably even more deserved this year than it has been in the past. So I think across the system, great job. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. 2 of the words that stick out are expanding and evolving for the media centers. I remember back in the day when the media center, which they called the library, was where the librarian would come around and say, shh, you had to be quiet. Now it has evolved and expanded into a hub of activity, discussion of ideas, learning new things, meeting with other people. It's just a hub of activity now where people are encouraged to talk and to do things, to build things, to compose things. And it is one of my favorite places to visit when I go to a school. It's just wonderful. In addition to the cafeteria, the art room, and the gym and all the other places, media and the library has always been special to me and my children as they were growing up. People, I say, where you want to go? They want to go to the library. So we would go to the library, we would go to bookstores, and we had a great time. And it's very important to introduce children to books at a very early age, because everything you want to know can probably be found in a book or some other material. So I appreciate our media staff for all that they do, and I thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Books are such an integral part of our household. I truly think that in my son's case, we could take all the furniture out of his room and rebuild everything with the books he has collected over many years, and probably still have books left over. I'm really pleased that we were able to partner with the county library system, because I really think that expands our resources and helps helps students and families understand not just the importance of the libraries that we have, but also the resource that is our county library system. One of my favorite things to do is to go to our media centers in the schools. The media specialists are just so dynamic. Mrs. Hager, as Judy mentioned, at Leonardtown High School just has such incredible ideas about drawing people in and appealing to such a wide range of students. Stacy Hazuda at Hollywood Elementary is so passionate about what she does, and that really comes across when you see her with her students. Mary Owen at Captain Walter Francis Duke. I know her outside of the school system, and she is always talking about the coding club that she has, and how excited the students are to participate in that. And all of our staff really go above and beyond, and I think the media specialists, much like the folks that are in our cafeterias, those are the constants in a student's life from one year to the next. And I think having a relationship with the media specialist for our students is really important, because when they need somebody to point them in the right direction of, I've talked to you about this, you might be interested in this book, you might be interested in these things, is a way to create a bond with a student that can perhaps draw them in ways that maybe they didn't find elsewhere. And I don't know where we would be if we didn't have our media centers and our media specialists, because they, I think, are the linchpin that really helps a student find their place and gives them the tools they need to be successful for a lifetime. So thanks for bringing this. It's wonderful to be able to provide the resources through the Media Center that the school system has been able to invest in over the years. And it makes a big difference.
Okay.
I can't say anything more than Judy did. I mean, Judy went and said it all. That's the most ringing endorsement for what media specialists and the media centers really mean to kids, and that's amazing. And so if you go to the library, you can end up going to Yale. So I spent a whole bunch of time in my in my library when I was growing up, and it only got me to community college. I think I might have been reading in the wrong section.
But you became an English major.
Yes, I became an English major, and the libraries are one of the most important places for me, and I hope that the book never goes away. I love the smell of a library. I love the smell of a book. There's just, and it definitely appears, you said that the Scholastic sold out, it definitely appeals that younger people are being drawn back into the physical presence of a book. And wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Just thank you very much. And thank you very much. And this is just one of the many things that Ms. Weslakinski does. So, I mean, my goodness. Other duties is assigned as a long list.
And I even was able to close it the right way now.
Yeah, and we're back
That's
to
amazing. Now it works.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you. All right, let's see. Ms. McCourt with our March financial report.
Let's see if I can bring it up. Challenges continue.
I love how we build the tension into right before the presentation. So when you get up there, you have that incredible moment of, will I be able to open it? Will this all work out? I'm not really sure. And you get really nervous before you start you having to actually speak. It's nice. It gets that heart rate up. Sorry.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Before you is the March financial report. For the revenues of the $242.2 million budget, we've received $193.5 million. Remaining balance is $48.6 million. So 3/4 of the way through the year, we're at 79% of our revenues have been received year to date. So right on target. On the expenditure side, we're continuing to monitor special education. As you can see, our area of concern continues to be the out-of-county transfers. However, on a categorical level, we're still fine at 98% within the categorical budget. And I'm continuing to work with, in discussions with Jeff Thompson for transportation. Our numbers on here continue to look good, but we're monitoring the fuel prices very carefully. That has great potential of exceeding budget by the end of the school year. And then finally, the bottom line. We have $75.5 million of encumbrances outstanding, and year-to-date encumbrances and expenses total $235.5 million, so representing 97% of our budget. Are there any questions?
Anyone?
No questions?
No.
Judy, Rita, Mary, Ken?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next board meeting is Wednesday, April 27th at 5 p.m. We'll see everyone there.
I will be here.